Oké. Klaar?
Ja.
Ja.
Ja. Dag Monique. Je staat op mute.
Ah, Monique.
Sorry, ja.
Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen.
Voilà, Pascal, je kunt beginnen. Iedereen is daar.
Good morning. We'll give it 2 more minutes for people to join. We're currently at 51 participants, I see. So we'll just give it a few more moments and we will start the program this morning. Thank you. We'll give it 1 more minute and we will start the session. Good morning. Welcome to our second BATM webinar, where we this morning will talk again about the relaunch of business travel in the post-COVID-19 era. Before we start, just know that we are recording the session for our members that are not able to join this morning. We will post those recordings on our BATM website. For those people that would have an issue with the fact that we are recording, obviously you're free to leave the webinar at any time. So it's our second webinar this morning. We had one last week as well. Last week we were with 72 participants. This morning I see again a big turnout. We're just above we're just at 60 participants right now. I want to thank all our members obviously for joining, and I also want to thank all the panelists this morning for joining our second webinar. The webinars are for us at BATM a new way to help our members from an education perspective. Obviously the COVID-19 measures have also impacted what we do as BATM and how we operate as BATM. We will continue to organize on a regular basis webinars. Obviously, if any of our members have any input as far as which topics that we would or which you would like us to schedule, feel free to reach out to us. Every input and any feedback is always highly appreciated. The impact of COVID-19 has obviously been huge to our industry, and as I did also last week, I just want to give a couple of numbers to give a little bit of scope. So IATA this week released an updated version of the forecast 2020, where the expected loss of the airline industry is now at 84.3 billion US dollars, and the revenues fall about 50% by the end of 2020. They've also released a forecast for 2021 this week, where they still predict a loss of 15.8 billion US dollars for the industry. But there, at least the revenue rises to about 600 billion US dollars by the end of 2021. It certainly shows that there is a long way to recovery post-COVID-19. On the other hand, what they also released this week is that the passenger confidence is now about 60-65% based on a survey they conducted in April. The last number I want to share from IATA is that based on the bookings that they see June 2020 versus 2019, the bookings are down by 82%, which is obviously not a surprise, knowing that there is much less offer in the market and less demand, obviously. Google also released some numbers that I saw this week. So the Google flights, the searches are 60% down this year versus previous year, which is also obviously a significant number. The idea of our webinars is that based on an enormous amount of communication that everybody has seen floating by around what are the protocols and the measures to relaunch business travel, as you can see on the screen, for us, the idea of the webinar is to have different parties in our travel ecosystem explaining what the new COVID-19 new normal would look like, as well as what are practical steps, obviously, how we can relaunch our programs in the post-COVID-19 era. So it's a little bit of the idea today, as we did also last week, to give a little bit more insight and a little bit more a summary, let's say, of what would happen in the industry and how that new experience would look like. In my opinion, it is absolutely, although difficult times, obviously, for the industry and for all of us, it also creates opportunity, because at the end of the day, relaunching travel, business travel, it will have a lot to do with organization and traveler confidence. Rebuilding that confidence, we have as travel buyers, travel managers, a big role to play. Communication is going to be crucial, and therefore it's obviously, you can't overload travelers with information. It is often the idea of what is the information that really matters that you communicate, and how can you build that trust. In order to build the trust, I think it's also important that each one of us clearly understand what the needs are that travelers have in the post-COVID-19 era when they start traveling again. So it's the closer we can cooperate with our travelers, understanding what their needs are, understanding clearly what happens in our industry, and then communicate clearly to them what the new normal would look like to prepare them when they go back on the road. I think that is where we can bring a lot of added value in our organizations. Best practices, that's what it's all about, and that's what we want to address today. The way we're going to do our session today is the same as last week, where we will follow the journey of the traveler. So we will start with giving the floor to Monique from CWT, followed by Kathleen Borremans from Agencia. Then we will have Rob Wouters from Sixt, explaining from a car rental or a mobility perspective what that new normal will look like. And finally, we will have Ivar from Accor from a hospitality industry perspective. The Q&A session is, we have obviously muted all lines to reduce background noise as much as possible. And we will follow, or we will use the Q&A and chat function on the Zoom website in order to collect all the questions, and at the end of the presentations or the interventions from the different panelists, we will be more than happy to ask those questions to the panelists and provide answers. With any further ado, I would like to start with the first panelist this morning, and Monique, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Pascal. Good morning, all. Well, thanks, Pascal. You said the new normal. I would say there is no new normal, because I think this is a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to really scrap the old and welcome the new, and creating an optimum business travel environment for the future. So that's why I don't think we should say a new normal. I would say there's a new you, and there's a new way of traveling. And with that, I think there are, well, I would like to give 7 tips really to help you all to return to travel, because it is a difficult situation, and we have to think about it. So the first tip I would like to give is, okay, to define acceptable travel. What is really acceptable travel? When do people really need to travel? There's internal versus billable, domestic versus international. What happens with the quarantine policies in the different countries? That are the things I think you as a company would need to think of. But next to that, also, I think your approval process. What is your approval process, and how would that look like? Are you going to put more approval process in your company, or are you going to leave it up to the managers level? But there is also HR who I think needs to take a part of it. What also is important for your employees and for your travelers is to communicate your suppliers' COVID-19 health and hygiene standards. It is important that you do know, and that you as a company define what is the minimum we would expect from our suppliers to work with and have our employees traveling again. And also understand your employee concerns and provide guidance and support. Understand the concerns maybe via a traveler survey, but also provide support based on the traveler concerns with regards to hygiene kits, pre-travel checklist, mid-travel safety reminders, and also very important, keep, as Pascal said, information is crucial. Communication is crucial in this case. Make sure that your travelers feel supported by the company. With that, where you might also think of, how am I going to book? Would it be online? What do we do with the vouchers maybe you have? There might be tickets which are unused. So we also have to think of, how are we going to make sure that those tickets are going to be reused or are going to be refunded. And with that, I think you need also to think of your supplier contracts and the conditions you have agreed upon with your supplier, because we are in a different situation now. So that might also be, this might be the time to really check your contracts and see what needs to be done there. And the last tip I would like to give in this brief summary is collect your post-travel feedback from your travelers. Not only to know how they experienced their first travel again, because before COVID, it might be that they were just used to travel a lot, and it was just part of their job, whereas now they might look at it a bit different, saying, okay, but I do have a family at home. How am I going to do this? So collect all that post-travel feedback as well, and integrate that in your communication and in your process of going back to travel. I hope I can go in much more detail, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the different items I think you as a company need to think of by restarting travel again. And I hope that this will help you to evaluate your travel program and build it stronger for the future. Thank you, Pascal.
Thank you, Monique. If there are any questions for Monique, feel free to use the Q&A function at Zoom to submit your questions, and we will then ask those questions at the end of the session. Kathleen, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Pascal. So good morning, everyone. Very nice to be part of this panel. For Agencia, I just want to give you a quick update on what has been done throughout the crisis before we go to the relaunch as well. So as you know, Agencia, we are part of Expedia Group, and it has been very nice to see the huge investment in terms of technology that we have continued to do during the whole crisis when it started, and during the past months, because duty of care is definitely an obligation we have towards our employees and our travelers. So communication, as Monique said, was really key. So in terms of keeping the relation very close with our customers, building also different channels like the Agencia Connect online community, where all the travel managers were able to connect, have a different discussion panel and share best practices. And mass communication has been done throughout our account management team, but as well a lot of support has been given from our different travel agents throughout the different countries. We have built a lot in terms of reporting, which is very important. As we said, we had tickets we needed to cancel, we need to waive the ticket, we need to redeem the tickets. We have EMDs. Traveler tracking as well was very, very important part of this due diligences. With Expedia Group, we have also worked a lot with our hotels and be able to give functionalities to our travel managers and travelers to see and to be able to shop directly with hotels that have a full free cancellation policy. On top of that, so safety, different webinars have been also made with the company, with different people of the team to share and discuss with our travelers. But also assisting during the crisis, so making sure the travelers receive the right alerts. Through different banners that have been set up on the website. We have also created the Health Center COVID-19, which is a platform dedicated for the travelers, for the arrangers, with all the essential links to advise and to provide the best resource. So now when we look in the relaunch, we have done different surveys with our customers to try to understand what is the feeling tomorrow about relaunch. And if we see the results of this survey, if you look at more or less 800 surveys that were completed, we can definitely see that 30% of clients today are saying we are going to restart the travel throughout September, October, November. 30% from them says we don't know yet what's going to happen, and as we know, it's going to change, definitely. The behavior of the travel is going to change. And the other 33% is more like, we absolutely have no clue and they haven't responded yet. So when we look at this picture, what we are trying to do now to really help our customer throughout the different actions is more like focusing on the travel policy. The business travel will not be the same, but probably it is the right time now to really go through the travel policy, amend the travel policy, update as well the different setup we have on the Agencia platform. Take the time to really go to the online booking tool and make sure we have the right setup in place. Supplier agreements, as Monique said as well, it's time to rebound as well with our different suppliers and make sure that we have the right agreements in place and how do we want to move forward in this crisis. Risk management, again, it's a key word, but it's very, very important to connect with risk management suppliers company to make sure that we have everything ready, as well as the different guidelines, traveling expenses, etc. And then we really want to make sure that we can monitor today throughout our reporting and developing even more the reporting capabilities today for travel managers. So this is all the work that we are doing now. We don't have certainty about anything, but for sure, we know that people do business with people. And definitely, even if it will change, we really hope that there will still be face-to-face meeting. And we can see today that customers are starting to book again and anticipating trips for the next September and October. That's it for me.
Thank you, Katlijne. And same comment as after Monique's presentation. If there are any questions, feel free to submit them through the Q&A button in the Zoom application. Now it's my pleasure to give the word to Rob Wouters from Sixt. Rob, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Pascal. Yeah, first of all, thank you, Sophie and Pascal, for the opportunity to give you an insight on the impact of COVID on the car rental industry and how we are ready for travel after Corona. Short introduction. So my name is Rob and I am working in the car rental industry for 11 years, of which 6 at Sixt. So today I will share with you some insights, how we at Sixt cope within the crisis. As you might have seen in the media, COVID-19 has a very big impact on the car rental industry. So hard even that one player is currently under Chapter 11 protection. If we look closer at the Belgium situation, I can say that Brussels Airport is the most important branch for all car rental companies. So when no one's traveling at Brussels Airport, of course, no one is renting any car. So the first thing we had to do is reduce our fleet size by defleeting and stop infleeting new cars into our fleet. This is a major advantage we have versus the airline or the hotel industry, where you have just less flexibility to reduce your fixed costs immediately. However, we are also working in the fleet world, in the mobility world, as Pascal said, offering long-term rentals to our customers. And there we have seen even an increase in demand due to the need of bigger flexibility in the fleet of a company. To protect our customers and employees, we are of course following the recommendations of the World Health Organizations. Therefore, all our branches have plexiglass counter screens. We have distributed hygiene materials and displaying signage and marks to guide our customers at any branch and guarantee social distancing. We also introduced a new standard vehicle cleaning process where there's extra attention to deep sanitization of key contact surfaces in the car, such as the steering wheel, the dashboard, the hand grips, etc. Next to that, we are also very fortunate that we at Sixt have been in the transition over the last years from a traditional rent-a-car company to a fully digital mobility provider. We have invested in our own technology, Fastlane. This allows us to digitalize the complete rental process and fully go for a contactless rental via the Sixt app. It allows the traveler to leave the airplane and go directly to the car rental parking and open the car with the app. You are skipping the rental car counter. So you not only win time, but more important, you reduce the number of contacts you have picking up the vehicle. Today, Fastlane technology is available at all major airports in Germany, Italy, the UK, Austria, and the Netherlands. And we will launch Fastlane as well in Belgium this summer. This technology also allows us to do contactless deliveries, as the renter can open the car with the app and find the keys in the glove box. But we can also make our customers' pool car processes fully digital with this technology, as your employees then can book, open, and close the pool car via their smartphone. Next to Sixt Rent, we also have Sixt Share. This is a car sharing service. We have placed hundreds of vehicles in the streets of Berlin, Munich, and Hamburg. You can compare this product actually in Belgium with Poppy. And during the crisis, we have seen that there's actually a bigger demand for Sixt Share, as we notified that people, but also employers, were not that keen anymore to take public transport and prefer a safer way of travel within the cities. And just 2 weeks ago, we have launched Sixt Share in the Netherlands. We have put 600 electrical vehicles, 100% electrical, free floating and with interconnectivity in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague. This allows also that the corporate customers can travel on a flexible and on a very sustainable way. And after Sixt Rent, that rent-a-car product, the Share, we also have our grand transportation service called Ride. There you can book your taxi or chauffeur service worldwide so that you can travel on a very safe and individual way. You even can select a Sixt ride in the app with a plexiglass separation screen, and our partners have to follow a standardized cleaning procedure after each ride. To summarize that, the impact of COVID-19 on the car rental industry is very big. However, the fact of being unique and ahead with technology and having several flexible mobility solutions for our customers will help us to support your travelers in the future on a safe and contactless way as much as possible. So we are absolutely ready to go for Travel 2.0. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And now it's my pleasure to give the floor to Ivar. Ivar, thank you for joining.
Thank you, Pascal. Hello, I'm Ivar from Accor Hotels. Good morning to everybody. Great that I have the opportunity to share with you everything that we're doing in our Accor Hotels in order to welcome our guests back, and of course welcome your travelers back. Well, it's been a huge, obviously huge crisis for us, stopping our operations from one day to the other. But it's also really forced us to relook at ourselves and see how we can move on and changing our operations in a way that we can reopen our hotels in a safe way. And fortunately, finally, we've now reached the phase that we are reopening our hotels, at least in Europe. And almost 70% of our hotels are now back in operation. And we can now focus on making our products ready for this new normal or the new way of operating. So for Accor taking care of guests, this is what we do. This is our core DNA. So we really have committed to implementing not just, let's say, the basic government rules, but we have created a new label, which is called All Safe, which really aims for the highest level of sanitary measures that we can offer and to make it harmonized, let's say, for all our networks. So we're talking about almost 5,000 hotels in 110 countries. So you can imagine it's a huge operation. The All Safe label has been developed together with Bureau Veritas. So we decided we really want to have an external expert that will help us, but will also be in charge of auditing our hotels and certifying. Bureau Veritas is a world leader in testing and certifying. So we teamed up with them to create all these new standards and sanitary measures that we are taking that are now being rolled out to all our hotels in operation. It's a very, very extensive program. I just looked this morning at the Bible that the hotels are being sent now. It's a 95-page document, which really covers everything in our operation. So I just want to share a few of the highlights because, of course, you can imagine it's a huge program. The first that we look at, of course, is our staff. We need to ensure that our staff can work safely. So we are equipping them with all kinds of special equipment that they need, ensuring that they have regular health checks, that they follow all the relevant trainings for their departments. And we will appoint an All Safe officer, which will be in charge in each hotel of running all these new operation changes, and of course evaluating and ensuring that all of this is carried out in the way that it's supposed to be done. For our guests, we have a number of measurements that we take in order to make, well, to guarantee the safety, but of course also to regain the confidence of travelers to come back to our hotels. We've opened a dedicated hotline that our guests can call before they come to the hotel, just to ask any questions that they might have, any concerns, in order to prepare their stay. Sanitary kits will be provided to the travelers. In some countries, guest temperature measurements will be done, but in all hotels there will be somebody welcoming you in the hotel to do a little pre-check. Are you feeling well? Are you sick? Can I help you with anything? There will be visible labels in the hotel rooms on the high touch points, just to show that a guest, when you arrive in the hotel, that it's been cleaned. And of course, we're looking at all the room amenities, whether or not we need to change them in order to make it more safe and less contagious. Of course, cleaning is a huge topic. So we will absolutely, of course, do deep cleaning of all the public areas, disinfection of all the high touch points, and provide sanitizing stations throughout the hotels. But of course, we're also re-looking at our offers and services. So first and foremost, we have to make everything social distancing. So we're creating new routings in the hotel and all kinds of visible aids to remind our guests to please respect the social distancing rules. We're offering room service now in all the hotels, because of course we cannot have large groups in the restaurants. And then we need to avoid the buffets. Of course, even more high standards of food hygiene are being implemented at the moment. And we are really looking at every possibility that we have that we can provide contactless solutions to our guests. Especially, for example, the check-in and check-out. These are all, let's say, the measurements we are doing inside the hotels. Next to that, a big part of the label is also the partnership that we've signed with AXA. So just because we want to ensure that all our guests can have access to medical aid whenever they need it, we've decided to go ahead with AXA. They will provide free access to medical consultation for all guests in any of the Accor hotels all over the world. So if you feel uncomfortable or whatever, you can always call this number and you will get a telemedicine consultant that will be able to help you or guide you through to medical help, COVID test or whatever. And all our guests will have access to the global network of medical professionals through this AXA network. So I think this is also a great way to provide some extra security to our guests. Now, the next step, of course, is communication. We realized that of course, everybody wants to know what is going on. So we're working on some ways to communicate this to you and to your travelers. There will be a dedicated website available where you can always find the latest information for each hotel regarding this All-Safe label and the certification. But we're also in discussion with the GDSs in order to find ways to get this information into the systems and booking systems of our clients, so that you can actually see what is the status of the hotel, etc. But for example, also we're trying to make available the online check-in and the online check-out through the GDS, which is currently only available on our own website. So these are all of the things that we're currently doing. I hope I've given you enough information to bring security to you and to your travelers. That we're not just taking the basic steps, but really trying to go all the way and meet the highest standards in the industry in order to secure our guests. Of course, the key is also to implement all these new rules, but for our staff also to be still able to provide service with a smile. We don't want to be police agents, we're not a hospital, but we still want to treat your guests and make them feel comfortable and happy. But first we focus on safety, and we can guarantee that we still go all the way to make a happy experience in our hotel. So if you still have a need for any more information, of course, please reach out to us, to your account manager, or to the hotels. We'll gladly show you how our hotels are looking now, in any way, virtual or physical, in the near future again. So thank you very much. If you have any special needs to address, of course, you're welcome, and we can always talk about what we can do for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivar. And so now if We're now start the Q&A part of the webinar. So again, to all the attendees, if there are any questions, feel free to submit them. We have in the meantime received a couple. So maybe to Monique and Katlijne, one of the questions that we received is, do TMCs foresee to make available new tools or functionality additional to their existing, for instance, mobile apps to collect travelers' feedback on their experience post-COVID-19? Who wants to take that question, ladies?
I can start if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Corrado, for the question. Definitely, this is something. It's a good point. And again, as I've seen throughout the 3 months, how much we have developed and how much we have focused for our travelers, I'm pretty sure that this is something that could be seen on top of the actual mobile app we have. The different banners we have put and the different surveys that will be sent out also for customers when they will be relaunching. So just to answer, I'm not sure we are going to develop something at a certain stage and when will it be, but it's definitely a good comment. And again, the relationship with the account managers and the travel managers super important at that stage also.
Yeah, I can just add to what Katlijne said. Yes, of course, we are always further developing on the new needs in the market. We also always listen very carefully to our clients, and with that, we develop further. And as I said in my talk, indeed, I think it's very important to collect the post-travel information as well to make sure that the travelers are safe. We already do have that available in our apps, and also we do have our normal survey where this will, of course, be included. But we will also, we will make sure that we are ready for the future.
Thank you. Ivar, we got a question related to the amenities that guests are asking for in the hotels. Have you seen any difference today versus pre-COVID-19, if I can say it that way, as far as which kind of amenities people are asking for?
It's a bit difficult to answer. Unfortunately, we haven't had that many guests yet that are asking for things. But yes, we are expecting, of course, changes in the needs of our guests. We're preparing for that, but I think it's more down to being flexible and asking each guest, if they have special needs and provide solutions for it. We cannot put kitchens in all the rooms, of course, but we will always try to find solutions. We have some brands like Adagio that already have kitchens in the room, so there's a solution for everything, I would say.
Thank you. Rob, I have a question for you. We have learned last week a lot of the new sanitary protocols in the airline industry. We've obviously heard as well from Accor today what the new protocols look like. Is there also in the, let's say, car rental, car sharing business, how do you guys go along with new sanitary protocols to ensure that obviously renting a vehicle is safe? You're on mute, Rob.
I will share with you the documentation, the website we have for it afterwards that you can share also on BATM. So
yes.
as I said before, it's like a more new standard procedure for the rental car. So really cleaning the key points like the radio button, like the steering wheel, like the handling bars, etc. But more specific to share, which is of course more difficult. What we have done is actually put in place alcohol gels and cleaning wipes in every vehicle. Of course, there is always the risk that people will take it away, but we can also place it in there. That's one measurement we've taken. The second one is that we check each vehicle after every 6th rental. I don't mean rental because it's shared, so after every 6th ride, a team of our guys will go over to the car, check it completely, and also do a full deep cleaning of the vehicle so that it's safe to use the vehicle again and put it back on the street.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from anyone in the audience? Then feel free to submit them. Corrado just has another question that came in for Rob and Ivar. Would Accor N6 terms and conditions be more relaxed with regards to changes and cancellations as a result of the need for more flexibility by the customer?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have full flexibility on cancellations upon to arrival without any costs. This is introduced since February.
Yes, and for the hotels, for Accor hotels as well, we just extended until 30 September that all guests that made a booking with a prepaid rate, so normally you're not allowed to cancel, that will give all rates as flexible rates. So every guest can still cancel for any booking up until 30th of September, but probably, you know, it might be extended again, moving closer to that date. So we're trying to provide as much flexibility as we can for individual bookings, for sure. For group bookings, of course, we will negotiate with each group the specific conditions that we can offer.
Thank you. And I don't, yes, we just got another question in for Ivar. With all key, safety measures the hotels have to apply, like room service for breakfast and so forth, what is the cost of the hotels in terms of personnel? How will that impact the price margin for room rates? And obviously, will that bring additional cost to it? What will be the impact, let's say, on the rate that the traveler has to pay?
Zero. I mean, this is a cost, it's an investment in our own product. We will not increase the room rates just because of this. And especially, of course, in the current market, you know, we are really in the blue what the rate will be in next month. So I hope it will be back to normal pretty soon. But we will not increase the rates just because of these investments in the health and safety.
Okay. And I have one question for you, Ivar, regarding the RFP process for 2021, because I'm sure that with a lot of corporate buyers, that is something that they're thinking about. What is, let's say, best practice from a kind of core perspective? What would be your recommendation to the travel buyer community as far as how to approach the RFP season in 2021?
That's a very good question. I didn't put it in my in my speech because it's a big subject in itself. But good that you asked, because of course this is a big concern for us. We have many hotels still closed, many people still on furlough, but also we really, you know, lack the knowledge now to negotiate new rates. I mean, what is the commitment that you can give as a client? What is the price that we will offer for the next 12 months? We don't know. So our preference is to roll over the rates, the negotiated rates, until next year, and we will work on you with you to let's say tweak your travel program, maybe with some dynamic rates, to look at the chain offers, just to make sure that we can guarantee that you will have, as a valued customer, the best rate without touching, let's say, the contracted rates, because we don't know what they will be.
Okay.
But of course, if you need additional information in your RFP on the safety, etc., we can provide all of that.
Okay, thanks. And I don't see at this time any other questions coming in. So we have one more that just popped in. Any sign of business travel restrictions, not only because of safety reasons, but also because of economic reasons? And that's a question, obviously, either to Katlene or to Monique.
Yes, for sure. I think economic standpoint is very important. And again, travel is a part of the cost of companies, and it is the first cost that you can look at quite easily. So definitely it is linked. And again, I think they are going to do different travel policy and maybe have a different way of having some meetings. So definitely there is a link to me in the economical situation and the travel restrictions that will happen. However, this is where we are there to help again our customer to really monitor, adapt, readapt the travel policy, and making sure as well that they don't just completely remove the travels, because it's a part that is very important in a company as well, to motivate the employees to have them doing the job, and then to do the face-to-face business meetings. But definitely it is probably linked, yes.
I'm sorry, but I was disconnected for a while. So can you please repeat the question?
Sure. Is there any sign of business travel restrictions, not only because of the safety reasons, but also because of economic reasons in the post-COVID-19 era?
I think there will be, and I think that companies really will look at how they have to do their business, and that's you will have companies who really need to travel just to do their to be profitable at the end, because the need of their the way the business is set up. If you look at engineers, etc., or when you are going into the ERM business, whereas if you are more in a sales company, I think there it might depend a bit on where we are in COVID. If people do feel comfortable enough to really have these face-to-face meetings, I think it will increase, but it might take longer to get that back on track again.
Thank you. We also got a question in, and that's basically for all the panelists. What effect will home working have on the travel industry? Anyone who has some insight or any thoughts they want to share?
I can share my personal my view on
Sure.
that. Yeah, I think that with home working, we have seen that it is possible. Though what you also see after a couple of months now, that more and more people really are willing to get back to the office to have this collaboration. And I think that will be the same in business travel. So I think what you do see now, the willingness to go back to the office just also for, as said, for collaboration, I think that you will also see at the end in business travel, people want to travel again. But we first need to find this safety platform again.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants to add any comments on that question?
I think it will change mainly on mobility, as a lot of people will be working from home. In the past, I think a company car or a vehicle in general was standing still 23 out of 24 hours. Now, if we stop commuting to work, I think employers and employees will look at several options of mobility. So this would really be the speed up of alternative mobility solutions for your employees, like trains, like bike, like steps, like cars as well, like sharing cars, etc. So I think that's going to have a big impact working from home.
Thank you. And I think these are the questions that we did receive. So with this, I want to first of all thank the panelists for their time this morning and for the great insights in the relaunch of travel story that we are covering now since 2 weeks. I also want to thank all the people that joined us today, our members. Thank you very much for that. Be on the lookout for more webinars to come. In the meantime, if you have any questions or any feedback, feel free to reach out to us. Again, as I said in the beginning, if there are any topics that you want us to cover, feel free to reach out and we'll try to do our best to accommodate that. With this, I want to wish everybody a great rest of the day and a fantastic weekend. Enjoy, stay healthy, and talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.